Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be trying out a new product, actually a few new products from Rare Beauty. I got the PR package in the mail recently. Thank you so much to Rare Beauty for sending this to me. I've been dying to try these products, but I wanted to save it for its own video because I wanted to do a wear test with it. Since there's a new primer, I really wanted to see how the primer made a difference in my foundation. So when you first open it up, you have this little cover right here, and then it shows the new Always an Optimist Pore Diffusing Primer, which I'm very excited to try. Apparently this is supposed to be like a smoothing primer, but it's also supposed to be hydrating. It has hyaluronic acid and green tea and vitamin E. And then you lift off that layer, and then underneath we have the new eyeshadow palette and then eye primer. They sent one for myself and then one for a friend, so they are the same palette. They didn't launch two. And this looks beautiful. I can't get the eye primer out. It's really stuck. Okay, I finally got the eye primer out. So let me show you the packaging. I love Rare Beauty's packaging. It's so unique all the time. So that's the top of the eyeshadow palette. The brand name is raised in these gold letters. And then look at the inside. How pretty is this? I'm so excited. So this is the True to Myself eyeshadow palette. And there's mattes and shimmers on the sides. And then the center is a glitter topper, which you guys know how much I love glitter toppers. So yeah, we're going to be trying this out. We're going to be trying out the primer. I'm going to be using a lot of other Rare Beauty products because I am so familiar with the foundation. That's what I'm going to be wearing with it. So let's just get right into it. I'm actually going to use the Rare Beauty brow pencil. It doesn't have a spoolie, so I'm going to just use a spoolie from another brow product. I'm actually not very familiar with this. I think I've used it once, but I don't remember how I feel. I feel like I've been trying so many brow products lately. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fill in the brows. Okay, so now that the brows are filled in, we're gonna go in with this product first, if it would focus. Hello. There we go. The Rare Beauty Always an Optimist Eye Primer. I just looked it up at Sephora. Now this is $18. And it's a weightless hydrating eye primer that smooths the lids while prepping for longer lasting, amped up color that won't crease, fade, or smudge. Okay, let's try it out. It has the same kind of angled brush that a lot of the other products have. It's just a little bit smaller than like the concealer one. Oh wow, okay, so it's a bit more pigmented than what I thought it would be. I'm just gonna blend this out with a brush and then pat it in with my finger. Same thing on this eye. I like how it has coverage, but once I do blend it out, it's actually not as full coverage as like my NARS tinted eye primer. It does have a bit more of a sheerness to it, but there's enough pigment to where it does cancel out a lot of my discoloration on my eyelids. It definitely feels very thin too, which is nice. It doesn't feel too heavy on the eyelids. Okay, let's create an eye look with the eyeshadow palette. Okay, so there are 3 mattes, 3 shimmers, and then a glitter. I think our best bet for a transition shade is the second shade right here. And this is called Genuine. So I'm just gonna dip my brush into this, tap off the excess, and then start to work this into the crease and a little bit above as my transition shade. It's gliding over the primer really well. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on this eye. I kind of want to try out this shade right here. Now this one is called Undeniable. I'm just interested to see how this color wears or looks with that other warmer shade, since this one is a little bit on the cooler side. So I'm just going to go ahead and start to build a little bit of definition on the outer edge of the eye. So based off of my first impressions, like applying these, it seems like this formula so far, at least the matte formula, is a very nice, like buildable, smooth kind of a formula. It's not overly pigmented to where it's not buildable. Like you definitely can really build this up. And I feel like so far it would be a very user-friendly palette, just based off the mattes so far. Okay, I actually really like how that looks with that orange color that we first applied. I think I kind of want to try out the shade next to that as well, the Passionate. It's like a duochrome pinkish gold color. This one looks really, really intriguing. So I'm going to go ahead and press this onto the eyelids, just using my finger. Oh wow, okay, so this is almost like a glittery formula. I was expecting like a pretty thick metallic, but it's actually very, very fine flecks of glitter. So I'm just kind of layering it up. It's a very unique color and formula. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other eye. And I am taking the time to really build this up. I feel like it's a bit of a drier formula, so it's not going to go on super opaque. But again, I feel like that's kind of nice because you could use this as more of a topper if you wanted to. But I really like how it looks built up quite a bit. That's a really cool color. I don't know if it's picking up the way that it looks in person on camera, because there's a very distinct like pink and gold shift depending on where the light is hitting. Really unique. I like that. I of course want to try out the glitter topper though, so we are going to add a little bit more pizzazz on top. So I'm just going to use my finger for this, kind of dip into the glitter shade and then just gently press that on top of the first shade we just applied. I really like how this is scattering evenly all over the lid. Ooh, that's pretty. I love a good glitter. I'm just going to do the same thing on the other eye. Now this does have a tacky base to it, which is nice because you don't have to put down like a glitter glue before applying it. I mean, obviously we will see how it wears. If there's any fallout, then maybe you would want to, but it has a pretty tacky base that allows it to just adhere to the lid just by using your finger. I'm just going to gently take a little bit more of that light kind of orange shade and just sweep this a little bit higher underneath the brow just to make sure the edges look super blended. I'm going to take just the tiniest bit of this shade right here. This is called Loyal. And I'm wanting the outer corner to just be a teeny bit deeper. So I'm just going to pop that in the corner of each eye. Okay, I'm just going to pop on mascara on the top. I'm just going to use my Maybelline Lash Sensational today. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and take a makeup wipe and wipe away any fallout. There's definitely glitter fallout. I don't see much fallout with like the matte shades or even that other like kind of pink shimmery shade. It's not that as much as the actual glitter topper. So I'm just going to make sure that there's not too many pieces that have fallen down. And then I'm just going to take my fingertips and tap out the edges. Okay, let's go ahead and go into the new Rare Beauty Pore Diffusing Primer. Let me look this up and see what it claims to do. So this retails for $26. This is actually the second primer that they launched. They have an illuminating primer right here that I really do actually like if you're into more of a dewy complexion. This is supposed to be a hydrating, cushiony gel primer that blurs the look of pores and fine lines and boosts and extends the wear of makeup and helps fight shine all day. Apparently you can use this by itself if you want to. That's what they kept marketing on Instagram. So I don't know. Let's go ahead and see how this looks. I'm just going to do one pump. So it is kind of like a gel consistency. Okay, let's go ahead and focus this in the T-zone for me. That's where I have the most texture. Oh, whoa. Okay. So it starts out as kind of like a gel feeling thing, but then once you start blending it out, it's a very, very smooth kind of silicone-y feeling. And I don't know if I'm crazy, but it kind of feels cooling on the skin too. I feel like my skin does look a little bit smoother. I don't know if I would personally wear it by itself, but it feels very nice and it's definitely sinking into the skin and drying down a little bit. It feels really nice. We'll see how it makes my makeup look, obviously. I'm going to give my Rare Beauty foundation a good shake. This is the shade 130N. And let's just dot a little bit onto the face. And I'm going to take my Rare Beauty foundation brush. And I'm just going to start blending this out all over the skin. A little bit of this goes such a long way. I've really learned that over the last little bit, like getting used to this foundation. Because I used to draw like pretty thick stripes all over the skin, which you still can do if you want that extra coverage, but I've noticed like less is more and you really do get good coverage with just tiny little dots all over. And then I find that it wears better that way as well, so I kind of try to monitor the amount I put on my face when it comes to this foundation. And I can always build it up too, so I'm just going to put a little more on the cheeks because that's where I have the most redness. And then I am going to take a sponge and just kind of press that in. Next I'm going to go into concealer. This is also from Rare Beauty and it's also in the shade 130N. Just going to dot a bit of this under the eyes. And I'm going to blend this out with my favorite concealer brush right now. This is also from Rare Beauty. It's such a good concealer brush. I'm just going to make sure to blend this out. Once I feel like the shape is kind of blended out where I want it, I'm going to go in with my sponge and just press that into the foundation. I'm actually going to use the Patrick Ta contour palette that I recently tried. And I'm going to take the contour brush that they made for it and dip into the cream first. And I'm just going to use this to cream contour really quick. Okay, now I'm going to take a little bit of my Laura Mercier Secret Under Eye Setting Powder. And I'm going to use this to set the under eyes. And then we're going to move back to the eyes. So I'm going to take this shade again right here and just run this across the entire lower lash line. Then I'm going to take a little bit of that mauve color again, this time on a smaller brush. I'm going to tap off the excess, and this time I'm applying this a lot closer to the lashes, but I'm going all the way across the lower lash line as well. And then I dipped into this shimmer shade right here called Positive, and then I just got the brush wet with a little bit of setting spray, and I'm going to run that across the lower lash line, starting in the inner corner and going about halfway across. I'm going to take what's left of that shade and apply it in the inner corner as well, just to kind of brighten that up. I'm taking a fluffy brush and just making sure the edges are blended. And then I'm just going to add mascara to the lower lashes. I'm going to take a little bit of my Thrive Cosmetics powder. It's just a loose translucent powder. And I'm going to gently press this onto the rest of the face. Even though I already set the under eyes, I didn't put powder on the rest of my face yet. So I'm just going to make sure that everything is nice and locked in. And then of course I'm going to go into the powder shade in the Cream Contour Powder Bronzer Duo from Patrick Ta. And I'm just going to use this to warm things up a little bit. Okay, next I'm going to take a little bit of the Rare Beauty cream blush in the shade Bliss. I'm actually going to apply that to the back of my hands and then take the back side of my sponge and pick that up and then smile and apply it. Okay, I feel like the sponge just absorbed everything, so I'm going to take a brush this time and kind of use that to just stipple this onto the cheeks. There we go. You can apply this directly to the face, but I have found that things just kind of look a little bit more blended when you use a brush or a sponge, especially when applying it over top of powder like I am. You know what, since we're doing so much Rare Beauty, let me find the liquid highlight too. We'll wear that as well. All right, so now I'm going to take the Rare Beauty Liquid Luminizer, and I have mine in the shade Enlighten. I'm going to do the same thing and just kind of put this on the back of my hand. And I'm actually going to use the same brush that I used with the blush. I'm just going to take kind of like the side of the brush though, and just start applying this to the high points of the face. I've only ever applied this with my fingers as well. I really like how it applies, just gently tapping it into the skin with a brush. I think that looks so nice. I am going to take a little on my finger though, just to go down the center of the nose. And then I'm taking what's left on the brush and just going on the Cupid's bow. Okay, so I'm just going to wipe away any foundation on the lips. And I'm going to go in with my favorite Rare Beauty lip product. This is the Matte Lip Cream in the shade Courage. It's a really nice mauve, so I don't know, hopefully it'll look good with the eye look. It should. It's a very nice kind of muted tone. Yeah, I actually think it looks really good with the eyeshadow. I'm just using my finger to kind of soften the edges. I was going to use a lip liner, but I kind of like how soft that looks, so I'm just going to leave it. Okay, so now I'm going to set the brows with the other side of the Rare Beauty brow pencil, which is like a tinted kind of a pomade. I'm going to wipe off some of the excess back into the tube so that I don't accidentally overdo it. But I'm just going to go ahead and set the brows with this. I feel like I'm honestly not the best with these tinted brow gels. Yeah. I just feel like they get everywhere on me. I'm going to grab a clean spoolie just to try to soften up some of the splotchier areas. I feel like that brow looks pretty good, but this one got splotchy in the front. Okay, I feel like I remember why I didn't really reach for the brow pencil after trying it the first time. I don't know what it is about like tinted brow gels for me. I really just can't get the hang of them the way that I can a clear brow gel, and I just feel like clear brow gel just flatters me more. So yeah, the brows aren't my favorite today, but that's okay because we are here to test out the primer, the eye primer and the eyeshadow, which I really, really like based off of my first impressions of everything. But of course, let's do a wear test to see how everything holds up. I do feel like there was a bit of smoothing here. It definitely wasn't as smoothing as some other pore filling primers that I've tried before, but it's also not heavy like those super full pore filling ones, if that makes sense. It's a nice kind of in between. So yeah, we'll have to see how my complexion wears. I really like the eyeshadow. I feel like it's very user-friendly. I don't know if it's like the best eyeshadow palette I've ever tried based off my first impressions, but I really do love the glitter topper especially. I think the color scheme is beautiful. I really like the packaging. So yeah, we'll see how it wears too. We'll see if the glitter falls down any more than it already has. And so let's just start our wear test. It's currently 3:42. I need to charge my phone. It's at like 2%. So I'm going to wear this for the rest of the night, and I'll come back and show you guys in the studio lights exactly what's going on. But yeah, I do definitely feel like there is quite a bit of smoothing, and it's nice and blurred and more matte in the T-zone. I also didn't want to use a setting spray today to really see how things would hold up in the areas where I put the primer. So yeah, let's just get to our wear test. I'll see you guys in a little bit, and we'll do my first check-in. Alright, you guys, so I'm back in my studio. It is currently 11:05 p.m., so I've been wearing this for around 7 hours, I think. I am floored by one of the products that I tried, and I wasn't really expecting it because when I first put on the primer, I thought it felt nice. I thought it looked kind of nice. It wasn't the most pore diffusing primer I've ever used, but you guys probably know, and if you don't, I will repeat myself. Usually when it comes to a pore smoothing, mattifying type primer, by the end of the day, I'm more oily than I normally am. This, I'm not. I feel so balanced, and this is after 7 hours. I feel like I'm just barely starting to see a little bit of something in my T-zone. I wouldn't even care to leave it as is. I don't feel like I need to touch it up right now, which is unheard of with any other pore filling mattifying primer that I've ever tried. That's why I really don't use them that much, because I get more oily than if I just use a luminous primer. So I tend to just go with a luminous primer, and then if my oils show throughout the day, I'll just touch it up with a powder. This actually did something. Again, I don't think it's the most pore filling, but for balancing my T-zone, this is one of the best that I've ever tried, honestly. I cannot believe how not super greasy my T-zone looks at this point in the day. Obviously, I did use it with the Rare Beauty foundation. This tends to wear pretty well on me anyway, but I do feel like this primer did do something. I'm very excited about it, but it makes me really excited to try this out with other foundations. Honestly, looking up close, I do feel like it did do a little bit of smoothing in my pores, but I just don't want to say like I fully agree with like the pore thing, because I can still see my large pores right here, but yeah, when it comes to balancing the T-zone, that is what I will reach for this for. I'm very excited about it. The other products that I tried were the primer and then the eyeshadow. I feel like it was really pretty throughout the day. I don't notice any creasing, which means that the primer did something. I really liked how lightweight the primer felt. I will have to try it with other formulas that I'm more familiar with to really see how it compares to my NARS one, especially because you guys know how much I use that. But I did like it, and I did really like the eyeshadow palette as well. I feel like Rare Beauty really needs points for packaging and innovation. This is so beautiful, and it would be so fun to display. The colors are really nice. If you're inspired by this, I don't think you would be disappointed if you picked it up. I just own so many eyeshadow palettes at this point that I don't know if it's something that, you know, after I put it on, I feel like I kind of have a lot of these tones. I will say I really did love how the glitter looked. I feel like under my studio lights, it doesn't do it justice. Upstairs in my kitchen, especially in dimmer lights as it got dark outside, as the light would kind of capture the glitter, it looked really beautiful. So yeah, I did really like this. But I don't know if it's a need as much as I feel like the primer was for me. This was the most shocking thing that I tried today, and I'm really happy that it worked out for me because, again, most primers like that make me so oily at the end of the day. And I feel like maybe it's because it does have like hyaluronic acid in it, to where my skin doesn't feel so dried out to where it has to like overcompensate and overproduce oil. Maybe it balanced it enough to where it didn't feel drying and it hydrated it enough, but then it's like smooth on the top to where, I don't know, I feel like, am I crazy, or do you guys notice a difference? Because I know I've been doing a lot of foundation tests. I always do like wear tests, and typically at the end of the day, especially after 7 hours, this looks so oily. If you can't tell, I'm very impressed. So yeah, I'm really happy that I sat down and filmed using some of these new Rare Beauty products. I would definitely say this is the thing that surprised me most. If you're like me and you have the same issue with mattifying or pore diffusing primers where you get more oily throughout the day, give this a shot. I would love to hear your feedback, see if it works like it did for me. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I definitely am really excited about that primer. I love discovering new products that work, so I'm very, very excited. If you're new here, hi, my name is Allie, and I would love for you to join the family. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button, and if you're already a subscriber but you want to be notified on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, click on the bell after you subscribe, and you'll get a notification every single time I post, so you won't miss a video. That's it for me today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye!